This is Miss Lizzie, and I want to welcome you to the Queen Lizzie podcast. Together, we will go through the history of Rosewood, Florida, and watch as the once prosperous town rises out of the bloodshed, fire, and ash to reveal the people, the memory, and the legacy of Rosewood. Watch every Thursday on Facebook and YouTube, or listen to our story on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Hello, everybody. I am Lizzie Polly Robinson Brown Jenkins, representing not only the Rosewood Foundation, but the personal testimonies and history of cherished friends and family. You are now watching the Queen Lizzie podcast. Today, we are talking with Dr. Diana Jordan-Baldwin. Greetings from the Queen Lizzie podcast, episode number 162, sponsored weekly by Steve Spurrier Team, located at 4860 Steve Spurrier Way, Celebration Point, Gainesville, Florida. First, I'm sending out today a heavenly remembrance to my oldest brother who was killed by lightning on June 30th, 1982. I will be remembering you tomorrow, Elijah. I'm still heartbroken, but I know you are resting peacefully in heaven. Second, a shout out to the 250th year anniversary for America from Americans. And today I am honored to have a very special person drove all the way from St. Augustine, Florida, to be on my podcast. She is my soror. She's my friend, and she is going to talk to us today about her plans. I will let you share that. So welcome, and I am honored, Soror.
Thank you. And Soror, I just love you. I love your spirit. I love everything that you represent. And what you're doing for Rosewood, it really makes a lot of us just think, how much more should we be doing to make sure that everything in our history is known and it will not be forgotten. So I thank you for doing this. I thank you for supporting history. I mean, I know this hasn't been easy, and I see you push every day and continue to encourage us, younger folks, to be able to push. So thank you for what you've done and paved the way. And that leads into the segue of what I'm doing is because of individuals like you who have set the way for us to be able to know that we can step in any ring and be successful. Absolutely. So I will introduce myself. I know I said a lot, but I just had to say, I had to tell you that because I just love you, and I hope that when I get to where you are, I am still supporting, I'm still serving, and I like to think that I'm a lot like you. I'm a servant leader. And so what that means is we serve the people, no matter what we're doing and everything we do. So my name is Dr. Diana Jordan-Baldwin, and again, I am a candidate for Florida House of Representative District 18. I chose to run because I served in the military, and I'm a U.S. retired veteran, a Gold Star family member, and I am dedicated and have dedicated more than 4 decades of my life to serving through the military and through the federal government. And so I'm glad to be here. And excuse me.
Sure.
And so for me, I've worked in leadership management. I've worked with helping other businesses set up their business. Through the federal government, I worked as a procurement analyst. I also wrote government contracts. I worked with the SBA. I was one of the business opportunity specialists. And for y'all small business who know what that means is I was that person that taught them how to set up their businesses, how to streamline when they had problems or issues with contracting or dealing with some of the federal agencies. I've worked for agencies such as the Army Corps of Engineer. I worked with the Department of Health and Human Services, and I've also worked with Army Futures Command. I have to say by far that was really exciting for the simple fact that they are doing things that's 30 years ahead. So 2030, basically. And so for me, I got to learn some new technology stuff because I'm not a technology girl. I am that girl who will write you a business plan. I'll write you a strategic plan. But when it comes to technology, I still have some growing to do. So that's just a few things about me. And running this race, the primaries, as you know, is August 18th. Early voting is the 8th through the 15th. And I just came back from the Republican showdown, and it was amazing. I learned a lot of things from some of the more seasoned ones that's in office and ones who are running for reelection or running to be elected. Had some great conversations and met some people who are just like me that really just want to represent the people.
And it's not about the party.
It's not about the
And
party.
that's what I like about you.
Thank
and
you.
what you are doing. It's not party, it's people.
People. I'm people first, no matter what. And I know that I hope to think that a lot of people think like that, but then the reality is people are running for politics and agenda, but I am not. I want to speak for the people. I tell people often, I'm not a politician, I'm a servant.
Okay.
And so I want to run for people in District 18. I want to be their voice. I want to advocate for them. And I don't want to forget not one day that I'm in Tallahassee that I am not representing them. I want to represent them even when it gets hard, even when the conversations have to be hard conversations.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely. And as I said, I respect you for what you have done and what you are doing. And I respect your platform. I read it last night. Again,
Thank
what
you.
you just said, I already know what your plans are. And I'm honored to have you as my guest today.
Thank you. And I thank you because she came all the way down to St. Augustine and willing to canvas with me, took me to meet Lenny, who is one of the business owners who also about history. And so I thank you for introducing me to individuals. She supports me throughout, not just in our organization together, but also as a person and a candidate. So I see you every day sharing and spreading the word and asking people to reach out and help. So I appreciate that as well.
Thank you. And Lenny, you all what is he? The director of the Lincolnville
I think
Museum.
that's what he does. I know
Yes.
I know the historian is what stood out to me
Well,
is that he goes
historian,
back and he
yes.
creates pictures and photos that tells the story for ones who are making history and have made history
Right.
for us because it's still happening now. It's a living document for us and I'm sure it is for him as well.
Exactly, and I have a connection there because I attended college in St. Augustine.
Absolutely.
So I felt at home there in St. Augustine. And something is coming up that I just read that St. Augustine is going to be the home for
The American Black History
Okay.
Museum. Yes, I was a part of going down and championing with them when we went to Tallahassee. They were on the
Right.
bus that caught on fire, but we drove, me
Okay.
and Sarah Chandler, and we went down there and we helped champion to hopefully bring it home, and they did. Like, it was a prayer that was answered, and St. Augustine will be where
Yes.
that Black History Museum will be located.
on my college campus.
That's right.
And
That's
I would
right.
like to be on that board or represent. And
You should reach
I'm
out.
assigning. I'm giving you this assignment.
Okay.
So put me in touch with them.
I got you.
And
I got you.
I need your support because I need to be there. I talked to my president, Dr. Bill William McCormick.
Yes, I met him. I talked to him. He's really a good guy.
He is a good guy, and he knows who you are, and he knows that you are running.
Yes.
So he suggested that he thought that was a good idea if I get in touch with them
Mm-hmm.
to look. My footprints are there.
Right.
It may not be on that. Yes, it is. It's on the campus where they're putting. They're not putting the building on the main campus, but
Right.
it's
It's in that area.
in that
Mhm.
area.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I will definitely do that.
Thank you.
I actually know a few people, and the main person, Greg White, I always say that he is probably one of the most famous people in St. Augustine. He tends to disagree with that, but everyone says the same thing. But I will make that connection.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to say?
Well, basically, one of the biggest things for me is that I would like to talk to our young people about voting. That is so important because a lot of them have checked out because they
Yes.
feel like their voice is not heard.
Yes.
They feel like that differences will not be made because no one is listening to what's important to them. Excuse me.
Sure.
But I believe that we have to get our young people involved. They're the future. And so teaching them and letting them glean of the leadership that we're doing right now and the spaces that we're stepping into is very important to have them involved with it. We should have them canvassing. We should have them at these conferences. Like at the Showdown, they had the Young Republican, and there were a lot of young people there. And so for me, I think that's a huge monument.
That's
But I think we
important.
need to do more of it. So that
Exactly.
is very important. I think we need to educate them. We need to let them know that, such as workshops, to let them know that we're listening. We want to know what you would like to see. Because they got some great ideas, and these younger folks, they're
They're
dealing with a lot
geniuses.
of technology and
Yes,
things that
yes,
are leading the way. And so I believe that we
exactly.
need to get them involved.
I agree 100%. We need them involved. And I was looking over some documents wherein we have people registered, but they didn't vote in the last election.
Absolutely. I did a whole report where I did research and put the strategic plan together to see who were the main voters, age-wise, age
Yes,
range,
yes,
whether what background they came from. And believe it or not, we don't have a lot of numbers in our young people that was in
exactly.
those numbers. And
Exactly.
it's a lot of people are just not coming out to vote. I've knocked on almost 2,000 doors, and what I've heard was this: no, I don't do politics, or I haven't voted in years because I don't like the way things are going. That's not the answer, because even if you say you don't do politics, politics is
People
doing
doing
you.
you.
And they're being able to write your narrative because you're not showing up and you're not allowing your voice to count. Because I often tell a lot of the women, and especially young women, there was a time when we couldn't vote. And now
Exactly.
you have the opportunity to vote,
Hmm.
and you will not use your right to vote.
Exactly. And if
That's
you,
critical that
that
you
is
do.
very critical. And if you all would go to my Facebook page, Lizzie Robinson Jenkins, I have two documents that I put on that I posted yesterday about voting. One is from my mother. My mother made sure all of her grandkids before she passed, she made certain they voted each and
Absolutely.
every time. And now when it's voting time, they call me, Auntie, it's voting time, tell me who to vote for. I'm not going to tell you
Because you
that
need to read.
you need to, and that's what they don't want to do.
Right. And
And
thank you for that, because that was one of the things I was looking at on my way here. One of the key things I wanted to just say here today is that we have to encourage
yes.
people in general,
Hmm.
but definitely our young people and the ones who look up to us, is that you need to go read, understand what a bill is, how do a bill even form, what goes into creating a bill, amendments. They need to understand what's on the ballot. They need to read and do their research, because when I talk to people who I went out and canvassed the area, one of the biggest things was, oh, I just checked the block because I really didn't understand what that is.
Exactly.
Dangerous, and
That
it's
is.
not going to help at the end of the day, because what's going to happen is you've checked something that has affected your life, and now you want to complain for the next 2-3 years about things not being right. It's right when you get involved.
Exactly.
You want to make a difference, then you step in the ring and make that difference,
Absolutely.
right? Or you can't complain.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's what I tell them. Auntie is not going to tell you.
Yes.
You know, you
Yes.
vote for your choice, but they don't want to read.
Yeah,
And if I
that's
tell
key.
them, that is key.
Yeah.
But together, hopefully, we will make a change. We will be change agents.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I consider myself, is that change agent. And I'm not afraid that I step in the ring and I might not get it this time, but guess what? I'm not going to fail. Because people think you fail because you lose, right?
When you lose, you win.
That's it. That's
Okay.
it. It gives me more that
More
I've learned.
inspiration.
It inspires me, motivate me, and I take from what I've learned in those different instances where I may not have been the successor, and then I pour it in. So even just like with this campaign, I am in it to win it. I've had my signs cut down, which I think that's very, number one, I think it's against the law. It's called stealing. But the second thing is, what leaders, we're professional
Yes.
individuals, and you cut down a sign. I mean, what message is that really sending?
Exactly.
Right? Intimidating people. To me, number one, I believe in my faith. So doing that, to me, tells me, why would you want that type of leader
Exactly.
leading you, that will go and cut down people's signs and
Exactly.
take their signs away so they can steal visibility?
Yes.
I think that's a shame. And those signs are very expensive. And now you have to re-put it. But I reported it. Nothing happened. So I will put my signs up again. We will have those hidden trail cameras and
Yes.
things that will be, because if we catch them in it, then we can report it.
Exactly.
Right. But I think that whoever listens to this, don't cut people's signs down. Run a good race. If you
That's
think
right.
you're the most qualified, you're the incumbent, with whatever your role is, just be honest and have integrity. Because that's not integrity when you out cutting people's signs down and then trying to cause them not to have visibility. Because I am a servant of God, and I will tell you, you can't hide what God has ordained.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And what he puts together, no man
No
can
man
set
can
us.
set aside. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, it's about time for our first half. We are going to head to a quick break, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
I am Black History.
I am Rosewood Black History.
I am Florida
and America's Black History, and you are too.
January 1st, 1923, the KKK insurrectionists attacked Rosewood, killing 5, burning it down.
Because a white woman lied and cried, a black man assaulted me. Rosewood redevelopment is on its way.
Want to help? Visit rosewoodflorida.com.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, 2 things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Welcome back to Queen Lizzie Podcast, brought to you weekly from the Steve Spurrier Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We are here with Dr. Diana Jordan-Baldwin. The Queen Lizzie Podcast is brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union, live from the Meldon Law Gator Studios at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We are back, and I want you all to know that I appreciate I call them my Rosewood ambassadors, because they support me. Coach Steve Spurrier, Freddie Weeby, who is the co-owner of the Spurrier Gridiron Grill, Meldon Law, and everybody knows Meldon Law. If you don't, Meldon Law has been around since the hippie days back in 1970. Each week he honors or he highlights a high school student. Each week he does that, and he is one of the best lawyers in town if you're looking for a lawyer. And then we always have our Campus USA Credit Union with Jerry Benton. They are very supportive. And it was through it was through, what's his name? You're going to have to. Okay. Because of Freddie Weeby, a young man I met at a walk for Alzheimer. I met him. I was interested in doing a podcast, and he said to me, "Hey, Miss Liz, don't know how he knows me, but everybody knows me. I understand you're interested in doing a podcast." I said, "Certainly." So he invited me to come here and do a podcast here, and he has been very supportive. And the reason he wanted the podcast to feature Rosewood is because of its history that we should never forget. And Freddie was born and grew up in Ghana, Africa, and heard the Rosewood story when he was in 5th grade. Never thought he would have met Lizzie. Not only did he ask me to be a guest here and run this podcast, he also named it the Queen Lizzie Podcast. And I want Freddie to know that I appreciate you and the rest of you. But anyway, my mom, when I didn't share this with her, but growing up, my mom let me know history is important. Research, authenticate Rosewood history. and document, tell the truth, keep that history alive, because my sister was the Rosewood school teacher. She suffered the agony of defeat, and we don't want to forget that history.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And my mother said, it's not for you to accuse anybody of what happened, because the people today were not living in 1923, so they're not responsible, and I do not. But she did let me know that she was going to write a song for me, and she did. 13 verses. I'm going to sing 3, her most important verses. Okay, she wanted people to know that there were people, had it not been for them, the sheriff, the store merchant, and the train conductors, her sister and all of the Rosewood survivors would have perished.
Mm.
And she said, you sing this song, these verses, every time you do the podcast. In my mind, that's what I figured out, because these are the 3 verses she admired. And it goes like this. And the songs originated from Cedar Key and the train conductors from Rosewood. So the song says, and I hope you're able to interpret it or understand it. The Cedar Key train conductors were told to pick up in Rosewood. Standing by the tracks with a lantern, its young school teacher stood, waiting in desperation to carry out the sheriff's plans, rounding up the hidden survivors to board the midnight train. The sheriff and the store owner worked around the clock, oh Lord, inform the train conductors just when and where to stop, pick up the men, women, and children who were hiding out, and bring them to Archer, Florida, traveling the same old route. Bob Walker and John Wright took on a daring risk, put the survivors on the train, and sent them off with a kiss. Notified the Gainesville families to be on the lookout for their kin. Told them the train was coming, and told them exactly when. Those are her 3 famous verses. And on that
That's
train,
amazing.
there were some Cedar Key, I call them my unsung heroes.
Okay.
Didn't want to volunteer to help the sheriff and the store merchant. Didn't want to, because they didn't want to put their family in jeopardy, but
Right.
they did. So they are my unsung heroes. I don't know who they are, but they stepped up to the plate and they helped when they needed to. And Mom, that song is for you.
That is so amazing. And you sung it so well. Listen, I don't sing very well. I make a joyful noise. But if I live longer than you in this world, hopefully I can be able to do those verses to carry on what you told your mom you would do. That is amazing.
I love that.
Yeah,
I'm
I would
so
love to do
touched.
that for you. I would learn those words and I would sing those verses for you. I would love to do that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much, because that meant so much to her. This history, and you know, another reason she wanted this history. Remember, I only said her sister was a Rosewood school teacher and suffered the agony of defeat. But really, when the KKK came into Rosewood looking for her husband, because that's who they accused of assaulting Fannie Taylor, who was the white woman that lied on my aunt's husband. Okay, because she would not tell them what happened. Was her husband kept asking her, where was your husband last night? She would tell them, at home in bed with me all night long. And each time the mob asked her, KKK mob, she would tell them the same thing. She got fed up with them asking her the same thing. And the 3rd or 4th time they asked her, where was your husband last night? Her voice escalated. He was at home with me in bed all night long. And somebody said, oh, the bitch is Erica. And somebody else said, let's rape the bitch. And they did. They gang raped her. And my aunt didn't want that message to get out, because back then she felt responsible.
Right.
Had she told them a lie, they would not have touched her. But she stood her ground and she said, at home with me all night long. And they dragged her in the woods and raped her. However, the sheriff was there to rescue her. He came from Gainesville because, back up, Liz, the mob wanted to kill her husband when they came back to Rosewood, where he had hidden out at Aunt Sarah's house. They found him in bed, took him out of bed, tied him behind a Model T, dragged him from Rosewood to Sumner, and beat him. And that's when they brought her in. So in order for her to save his life, she didn't know, but she let them know. He was at home with me in bed. So what they did, they took him to Gainesville, put him in jail, and the sheriff said to the Levy County sheriff said, the Alachua County sheriff, don't tell anybody that Aaron is here. And Aaron, her husband, was in Alachua County jail for 6 months. Okay, not knowing if she had survived, and he didn't know, vice versa, if she had survived. So there were good people back then. That sheriff, Alachua County, Gainesville, did not share that information.
Awesome.
And that saved his life. So the story goes on and on and on. But that's enough about Rosewood and the story. I'm back to you now. I want to know from you, Queen. Queen number 2.
Thank you. I will accept that label.
Why are you running?
So I'm running because I believe politics is just like the political office is just like serving, right? It's not politics, it's serving. It's being able to serve the people. And my life has been especially my adult life, serving and giving back. I've worked with domestic violence. I've worked with our elderly. I've worked with disabled children with autism, intellectual disabilities. I've been in that space where I was able to give back and go volunteer and work with them. I've did things for the St. Francis Home where we've donated food for them. We've donated clothes for the homeless. And so when I look back over everything I do, I'm running because I am a servant and I want to serve District 18. I believe I have the leadership experience throughout my life. I've worked the last, 40-something years in leadership, being able to work serve my country, taking soldiers to war and bringing them back. I've worked in the federal government where I've written government contracts, helped small businesses, and working at the Army Futures Command where we're doing things that 2030 is not even here yet, right? Okay. So you look at all those things that I've been involved in, and even in my community, just giving of myself, those things have prepared me. I've sat on several boards. I currently sit on the Zeta National Education Foundation board. Okay. I'm one of the board members there. Also, I sit on the One Meal Citizen Advisory Board for St. John's County School Board. So this committee was created to make sure that we hold accountable the school board and what they're spending the funds on. And so this is to me, I think this is a really important position because I'm able to say either yes, they're using the money for what we voted on, the voters said yes to the money for, or if they're not, I'm also able to hold them accountable and say no, they're not, and this is what they use the money for. So it's very important that I'm involved in that because that's audit and compliance, and that's my background as well. You know, I've worked with audits. I've completed audits on the federal space. I've been a compliance officer for years on this federal space as well. So I believe that all of that allows me to be in a space where I can hold, when I go to Tallahassee fighting for District 18, I can ensure that we're doing the right things and holding people accountable for the things that my district needs as well.
Absolutely. And when I was at the state meeting in January of this year in Tampa, the Zeta, our international president said to me, I told her about Rosewood. She had not heard about Rosewood. She said to me, she let other people know, look, Rosewood needs to be in the archives.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to ask you if you would be willing to help us.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when you go to the Boule, please locate our international grant and tell her that I would like for you to be the contact person between Rosewood, me, and
Okay. And definitely, and I cannot wait to to really, because I would love to glean. I remember when we first met and started
Yes.
talking about this, and I know that we were in a space where, we really didn't have a whole lot of time to talk about
Exactly.
what was going on here with Rosewood. But I would just ask you, I would love to even be on the board to help work with you and getting other people involved as well.
Yes, I would be honored for you to do that.
Okay, because I would love to be an advocate. That's one of the biggest things in half of my life has been nothing but advocating for other people. So I would love to be a part of that history. That is important.
Wonderful,
Yes,
wonderful,
yes.
wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
And my next question is what you stand for.
That's a good question, because my priorities are basically supporting our veterans and military family members. That's number one. Also, being able to support working class families, because as you know, this economy has people where the point they can't or be able to afford just the normal basic living things. Some people have had to leave their homes, and now with the governor has signed the bill of some portion of tax reduction. And I know this will help a lot, because some people have a problem with, we done paid for our homes. Some people have had their homes for 30, 40 years and you've paid it off, but you're still paying taxes on it. Yes. And I get that, right? I get that you should not, when your home is paid off, it should be paid off. And I do agree with that, right? My only concern with cutting back some of the taxes is just making sure that we're being responsible for what the taxes was being used for before, like the police officers, the first responders. So where's that money going to come from? So I advocate for responsibility and accountability, being able to make sure that, yes, I believe we should do some reduction, but making sure that we're responsible where this funding is going to come from to pay all the things that those taxes were responsible for. And then the other thing is the growth of our how we're growing so fast in St. Johns County and pretty much all over Florida, because let's just be clear, this is one of the best states ever. We rank number 1 and people want to come here. They're moving here by the numbers, right?
Absolutely.
So I believe that we have to have responsible growth. So that's one thing I stand on as well. And then ensuring that we're helping our elderly and our disability citizens who need our help, and making sure that we are fighting for them. So those are the things that are super important. I mean, my top 5, if you will, would be that in small businesses, because we need to cut out some of the red tape as it pertains to the small business as well.
Okay, sounds good. Closing remarks?
So my closing remarks is, I just want to leave with the voters this, that I know that you could pick anyone to be in this space for District 18. But what I ask you is to remember this, is that your leader should not ever just represent you during election time when they need a vote. Your leader should represent you around the clock, 24/7, all 2 years that we're in that election period and sitting in that office. And I am here as a candidate asking for your vote and wanting to ensure that I'm that leader that can advocate for you. I have the experience, it's proven, I live it every day, and I've walked it every day. So I'm not coming in green or brand new, I'm coming in with experience from the ground, from day one, ground in, that I can support and advocate for you. So I'm definitely looking and hoping to get your vote and your support for House of Representative Dr. Diana Jordan-Baldwin on August 18th, and also early voting August 8th through the 15th. Thank you.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. And you have done such an outstanding job. I'm going to ask you if you would read my closing remarks.
I sure will. I sure will. I think it's there. I'm continuously humbled, honored, and blessed to meet people daily and invite them to join in peace building, healing, and reconciliation, through learning about the history of Rosewood. That will wrap up today's episode. For Queen Lizzie, I am Dr. Diana Jordan-Baldwin. Until next time, bye-bye.
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 Thank you.